Welcome back. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, Craig?
I am doing great. It's been a lot of stuff going on this week.
Yeah, something I'm really excited to talk about today. So, couple cool things. We're post CES and excited to dive into some other things.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to make sure I've got everything here. Oh, there you go. The MOF article wasn't where I thought it was. All right. Are we ready to start?
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Let me get my share that. Perfect. How you surviving this cold?
You know what? Like, I can handle the snow. I love the snow, but when it's snowing cold, it can just F off. Like the cold, I prefer snow over cold any day. What about you?
Oh crap. Later. I guess I prefer cold over snow. I'm getting some weird terminal errors in the background, so I hope everything goes okay.
I've got green check marks across the board, and there's another. Oh, that's you.
Yeah, it's because I'm sharing this here. All right, are we ready?
Let's go.
Today, we're looking at a breakthrough that sounds like pure science fiction, a material that can pull drinkable water straight out of the bone-dry desert air. It's called a MOF. And after winning the Nobel Prize in 2025, it officially being hailed as the silicon of a brand new materials age. Metal organic frameworks, or MOFs, are essentially molecular sponges that scientists can program to trap specific molecules like water, carbon dioxide, or hydrogen. Because they are incredibly porous, with just a few grams covering the area of the size of a football field, they are likely the key to solving global water scarcity and stopping climate change. What do you think about this, John?
I think this is cool, and I like as we started talking about it, I feel like we've covered something similar, but I don't know if this was organic and metal merging, but this isn't that. But anyways, we talked about water from the air in the past, but anyways, this is something different. We're talking about metal organic frameworks, and so they're crystalline materials that are made by linking metal ions with organic, we'll call them linker molecules, that into a pattern, it's like a lattice-like structure, and they have these huge internal cavities. So unlike traditional solids, most of an MOF's volume, it's pretty much empty space. So it gives us this huge, colossal surface area relative to its mass. And so this internal porosity, that is what enables the MOF to physically or chemically bind gases and liquids with high selectivity. And so other cool thing about this is that these pores can be tuned at the molecular level. So by selecting different metals, different linkers, and geometric arrangements, scientists can design MOFs to target specific molecules. So for example, capturing carbon dioxide while letting other gases pass, or like you said, absorbing water vapor efficiently, even from dry air. And so this design flexibility, it's foundational to reticular chemistry, which is the field that Yagi kind of founded, which builds complex materials from smaller components with engineered function. So I agree with him saying that these are going to be a game changer, and they're going to change the world. I think if they're able to produce these at mass scale, and get it into third world countries and where we need, I think this could be a game changer for reducing carbon dioxide, and enabling drinkable water for people. What do you think, Craig?
I think this is an amazing evolution of material and a bunch of different things. It's going to rapidly change some fields. I like to think of it as molecular Lego sets. Instead of plastic blocks, scientists use metal atoms and organic linkers to build tiny 3D structures with massive amounts of empty space inside. So if a normal material is like a solid brick, a MOF is like a skyscraper where every single room is designed to hold a very specific gas, like a water molecule or a CO2 atom, like you're suggesting. So the big deal is this is, an unprecedented surface area. The internal floor space inside these materials is, just mind blowing. And for the first time, we aren't just finding materials in the nature, we're coding them at the atomic level to do specific jobs. So, that's amazing. And this isn't just a lab experiment anymore. With the Nobel 2025 prize, it's recognized as a fundamental chemistry that will define the next century. So yeah, I think this is crazy. And I see applications like we're suggesting: cleaner air, using industrial plants use MOF filters to scrub carbon dioxide out of the air before it ever hits the atmosphere. Better electric vehicles feature EVs could store hydrogen or methane much more safely and densely, leading to longer ranges and faster refueling. Water out of thin air. Obviously, I mentioned you could have a device at home that generates gallons of fresh water every day, even if you live in a desert, using only sunlight. So, just those are just some ideas.
Yeah. And the thing about this is that I don't know if we touched on this, but he won a Nobel Prize for this. So the prize itself isn't about prestige. What this prize signifies is it signals that this isn't just fringe research. It's foundational science with real potential to alter how we address climate, water, and energy challenges. So his vision ties back to a social mission: material science that alters societal infrastructure and not just lab benchmarks, which I love. And so being positive, I'm being really positive about this, but there's a few things. Despite their promise, they're not a finished commercial product. And so the greatest challenges, like I alluded to a little bit earlier, was scaling synthesis to industrial volume. The other challenge is ensuring long-term durability and also integrating them into processes that can compete economically with already incumbent technologies. So the positive on this is that the pace of research, which obviously they're including machine learning driven discovery, it suggests that there's going to be rapid progress on this to a commercial viable product.
Yeah, I mean, companies are already field testing water harvesters in places like the Arizona desert. We'll likely see MOFs appearing in specialized industrial gas sensors and high-end purifiers within the next couple of years. And then between the 5 and 10 years, we'll see mass market consumer products like home water generators or CO2 scrubbing HVAC units are on the horizon as manufacturing starts to scale. There's still some concerns about cost. Currently, making the links for these frameworks is expensive, often requiring a complex chemical synthesis. Durability: early versions were sensitive to moisture. It's kind of ironic, but though newer zirconium-based versions are much tougher. And scaling: they need to go from making grams in a lab to millions of tons in factory to truly save the planet. And kind of reminds me of, the football field in your pocket. A tiny nugget of MOF5 has more internal surface space than a full-size football field. It's like, are we in the Frank Pym age where we pull something out and go boom and it becomes huge?
Yeah. Exactly. Did you find anywhere where they talked about cost to produce this, or commercial cost or anything like that? I'm guessing not, because it's still in the research phase, eh?
The only thing I really have is that it's expensive right now. It's expensive to make them. Yeah, because of the links for these frameworks is expensive after requiring complex chemical synthesis. So but once they kind of have it nailed down, I think it'll scale.
Yeah, for sure. It makes sense. It's not like they're inventing new metals. It's not like they're creating metals that need to be created like by combining others. Like it's not like they're doing things that aren't viable or feasible, if that makes sense, with this technology.
Yeah, and like it's really good at, say, detecting differences between nitrogen and CO2 and being able to pull out the CO2 as an example, if that's what we're aiming for. So it's really cool. And the previous versions, the COFs, the difference basically was they didn't have any metal, and the new ones contain metal.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. I'm just trying to see, did we miss anything? I don't think so.
No, we covered everything. This is great. By the way, I think he won the Nobel Prize in 2025 for this. So this isn't old news. This is new news. Newer news, if that makes sense.
So is this the end of water scarcity or just an expensive lab dream? Given the Nobel win and the desert test results, I'm betting on the future. Let me know in the comments. Would you trust a device that makes water out of thin air? We'll keep watching this story closely. All right, looks good.
Yeah.
Today, we are looking at a vision for the future called Clawdbot, or more recently, Moltbot. And it is basically Claude with hands. If you ever wanted a personal assistant that actually does things instead of talking about them, you need to hear how this local AI orchestration is set to change everything. Clawdbot, since it was sued by Anthropic, is now called Moltbot. Is a hypothetical concept for a local AI assistant that lives on your own hardware, like a Mac Mini, instead of just in the cloud. It connects your favorite AI models to your actual apps like WhatsApp, Slack, and your smart home to perform autonomous tasks while keeping your data private. It's the bridge between a chatbot that gives you advice and an agent that actually runs your life for you. What do you think about this, John?
I think this is cool, but scary at the same time. So let's just talk real quick about this. So yes, it lives locally on your computer, but no, you're not safe from malicious actors, from being hacked. You're actually way more susceptible to hacking, to your data being available on the dark web, to passwords being available and being leaked. Everything, your personal data, absolutely everything. So this is great. First off, I absolutely love that there is an open source AI agent that can live on your computer, and it's cool because you can message it from WhatsApp, from Slack, and get it to do things on your computer from anywhere. So I think this is really cool. I love this. Is like I'm excited to install something like this. I don't know if I'm going to install Moltbot yet. But be careful if you do, because if you give it unfettered access to your banking accounts, to your email, to all your apps, and you go to a website that has malicious code that tells the bot to give it all your passwords, be careful, okay? But on the flip side, this is awesome. You now have an AI assistant that can do pretty much anything you need, right? What do you think about this, Craig? Are you excited to use this, or are you scared?
I am excited to use it. I was installing it on the weekend, but I ran into, as I was mentioning before, a bunch of it doesn't like the Node.js version I'm using, and there's conflicts between Conda and NPN, NPX versions, and so things aren't 100%. But if you're using Claude Code, it's a great tool, but you don't all have to use Claude Code. You can use ChatGPT's Codex along with it, and it looks very interesting. But you're right around it, like these things do stuff. They just do things. For example, I'm running anti-gravity, and we had a antivirus malware Sophos alert at midnight last night saying anti-gravity kicked off, and it's got vulnerability, weakness, or something. So I'll go check it out. But odds are it's just detecting that something's running as an agent in the background doing stuff. So the problem with these things is you never know 100% what they're doing.
Yeah.
But they can be very helpful. And like I continue to build new agents almost every day. Client work gets in the way, but I build new agents every day in a combination of tools: Agent Zero, Anti-Gravity, N8N, depending on what I'm doing and what I'm building. And something like this looks amazing. I mean, it looks like a combination of a bunch of things I'm trying to build, but somebody's done it already. So I'd really like to give it a go. And if you're using Claude Code, the install is supposed to be pretty easy.
Yeah. Are you trying to install it in a Docker container, or how are you trying? What are you trying to do with it?
Well, let's not get into that right now.
Okay.
I'm not trying to install it in a Docker container. So that's that aside.
Yeah.
There's just different environments. I don't want to
The only
troubleshoot it.
reason
But
is, what they're saying is to be safe, you'd want to do that in a Docker container. But yeah, let's continue on with this.
But you don't want to do a Docker container because that brings a whole lot of headaches. Like where you're saying, okay, Docker container only has access to certain files that you give access to. If you want Clawdbot to do other things, then you're really going to have to go in that container, give access to all the things it needs access to. It's probably okay for control, but it's probably a much bigger pain in the butt than you think. Now, I use that in Docker all the time where I have files below a certain directory that it can access, which I use to do a bunch of stuff with. So if your files exist below a certain directory, it's great. But otherwise, you want to give it access to your machine so it can spin up and do the things. Otherwise, you're going to run into, oh, that command doesn't exist in the structure that you gave it to me. I can't run those things. So you have some issues around that. So you're going to keep those in mind. But the idea of, action over talk, I think what's really cool about Clawdbot Moltbot is the stuff that people like myself and a bunch of other people way better than me have been doing for a long time now becomes more accessible. So instead of building these AI agents and taking the troubleshooting them and taking a bunch of time to build them, say, all right, now I've got this new AI agent that I'm going to tweak over the next few weeks. Somebody can now use this tool to do those things quicker and potentially better. It just makes everything more accessible. So you don't need to be a super expert in code for months to do the stuff that you can do with Clawdbot within hours of install.
Yeah, and for those of you that are like, well, why can't I just use Claude desktop, right? Well, so it is Moltbot. It's you can use any LLM, but the thing is it's not just a chatbot. It's an autonomous agent. So it integrates persistent memory, local execution, and workflow automation. So unlike typical chatbots that kind of reset context each session, Moltbot stores the history as local files. And so the more you use it, the more it understands you over time and can act on your behalf across different applications. So it is like a real person kind of thing, as far as someone who can learn and anticipate your actions, can execute on things that you tell it to do. Like, for example, you can tell it to schedule events based on different contextual signals. You can automatically scan emails and update your CRM. You can trigger jobs. You can interact with apps. You can do a whole bunch of things that someone who is using a computer can do, right? So it's really cool. I think so apparently this guy has released 43 other different projects, and this is the one that kind of took off. So hopefully he'll release something, or there'll be others. There'll be other choices that come out. So just be on the watch out for sure. This is exciting. This is where I like AI going.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of benefits, like Inbox Zero. Your AI could filter, prioritize, and draft replies 90% of your emails before you wake up. Your house can automatically adjust lights, temperature based on upcoming calendar events and the weather. Autonomous planning. You could say, like, plan a birthday party for John, and AI would message your friends on Telegram or what have you, find a venue via Google and put it on your calendar. So it can do a bunch of those things. So that, when people talk about an AI assistant, we're really going. 2026 will be the year of AI agents, even though people think 2025 was. It wasn't. We're now really starting to see agents start to take off and appearing everywhere. Like I said, I build them all the time for different things. I've got a couple running in the background right now. And with products like Claude Cowork coming out, which is going to do a lot of what you're suggesting here, but it's not as easy as it is with Moltbot. So as these products come out, Moltbot may end up being, backbench as a result of people building these kind of tools into their products. But Sam Altman and many others say, you've got to bet on us that we are going to continually improve. And if you are trying to fill a minor gap where we have a deficiency, the next revision, you're likely put out of business because we're going to fill that gap. So you have to figure out complementary access. And I think this is one of those things. All the high-end coding tools, they're competing, because the companies want this money themselves. They're burning so much cash. There was some articles recently about OpenAI, will they go bankrupt? Like, we've been talking about this for how long, that they're billions of dollars spend every month. They're farther and farther in the hole. It doesn't, this happens. And that's why they have to keep going for fundraising, because otherwise they'll run out of money. And so they want those $100 subscriptions. They want those $200 subscriptions. They need that money to go. So they will start to take that business away from everyone else. That's why we're going to start to see more advertising in these things. And I start to wonder, is advertising going to change the world from a AI perspective? Will it be embraced or not? I think it'll be embraced because we accept it, and that might actually start to make them profitable. So that'll be a different discussion. Back to this thing. It's not a releasable product. You gotta do some installs, you gotta muck around, so it's not quite ready to prime time. It does lower the barrier, but it's still not. I can't just tell somebody to go install it. They're gonna have problems unless they got a clean Mac, and that might work. It isn't cheap. You need a dedicated computer generally running it, and potentially $50 to $150 a month in API fees for the AI to do its work and thinking time and whatnot, unless you're powerful enough to run local AI. Like you said, if someone hacks your local AI box, they have the keys to the kingdom: your email, your messages, your home security. AI still make mistakes and hallucinate, and AI accidentally canceling your flight because it misread an email is a real risk. So, you have to give it guardrails. The system needs at least 16 gig, 32 is better. The system doesn't do everything locally. Use local orchestration with a cloud intelligence to balance privacy and power. Centralizing your entire digital life into one local bot creates massive security vulnerability if not configured correctly, and it's a single point of failure. So the concept aligns with computer trends in agentic workflows, self-hosted, and privacy-focused design, making it plausible evolution of a personal AI technology. I think this is an alpha or beta version of what we're going to see as personal assistants. Seen the rumors of OpenAI is going to launch headphones that talk to a local AI and do stuff for you. Like, they're all trying to be this local AI model and do what Rabbit promised like last year or the year before. This action model. Everybody's trying to make that leap, and we're seeing 1,000 different apps doing different things. So I'm really hyped to see general agents coming that can do all these things, because we're going to see a very much a more powerful bunch of agents that can do many more things. And now you're starting to realize why Microsoft and Apple are really worried about it. We're putting all these extra processors in for AI because you're going to need them, because you're going to have all these agents running all the time. So you still want to be able to use the computer when you want to use the computer. You don't want them like, hey, sorry, man, we're busy right now. So what I love this. Again, I had some issues with compatibility with some other stuff I'm running with N8N and anti-gravity and other things. So I have to take a step back and fix that this weekend. But it looks really cool, and I love what it looks like you can automate with it. Are you going to be installing this soon, John?
I don't know yet. I've got 32 gigs of RAM. I've got the M1 Max chip. I could probably run it easily, but I'm going to do some more research on it and follow sort of the news. Like there was just an article that just came out this morning that they discovered malicious Microsoft VS Code extension that was designed for Moltbot, and it was hosted on the official extension marketplace. So there's a lot of things that scare me about it. But I don't know if we touched on this, but Claude Cowork is now available on the Pro subscription model. So that's something I might look into as well. But yeah, short story long, I am going to at some point, but just not right away.
And what you mentioned about that VS Code extension, it's probably what's happening with anti-gravity, because all those codes are shared by all the VS Code type IDE interfaces, which anti-gravity is one of them. And you can just go into the marketplace and grab them. So I'll mention that to my security person who is on the case right now about what the Sophos error is. But if that's the case, it's so easy to get viruses or stuff running on your system, because I probably have it running, didn't even know, because it's a part of the official Microsoft repository. Let's go. You wouldn't think anything twice about it. And that's just an example of, would you trust an AI to have the keys to your house and your inbox if it meant never having to schedule a meeting again? Let us know in the comments if this sounds like a dream or a privacy nightmare, and we'll keeping a close eye on these local agents as they move from concept to reality.
I just sent you the link to that article so you can use it.
Link to what article?
About the malicious code.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mag 1 shockwave.
Yeah.
Okay, share that. Yeah, all right. Today we're diving into a breakthrough that makes our current high-speed trains look like they're standing still. We are looking at Mach 1 travel on the ground, and it turns out China is using literal ray gun technology to make it happen. If you've ever wanted to cross a continent in time, in the time it takes to watch a movie, you need to hear this. Maglev technology ditches wheels for powerful magnets, allowing trains to float and eliminate all friction. China has just tested a system that can launch a 1-ton vehicle to 700 kilometers per hour in just 2 seconds. This isn't just a faster train. It's a fundamental shift in how we move people and cargo across the planet. What do you think about this, John?
I love this. This is cool. So for those of you that don't know, there are already maglev trains out there, mostly in Asia. And for those of you that don't know, it's magnetic levitation. So the train and the tracks don't touch. And the way it works is they use powerful magnetic fields, and it lifts the vehicle above a guideway. And so that's how it eliminates contact with the track. So it removes rolling resistance, and the friction between the wheels and rails are also removed. So it allows much higher speed with increased energy efficiency. So researchers at the National University of Defense Technology, they've demonstrated a superconducting maglev vehicle that accelerated from 0 to 700 kilometers per hour, or for those in the US, 435 miles per hour in only 2 seconds on a short test track. And so on top of that, what we're talking about today is so what we're talking about, China has this sledge. They call it the electromagnetic sledge system, and it's accelerated heavy objects beyond Mach 1. And Mach 1 is the speed of sound. And so they've done this using purely electromagnetic forces, which is super cool. I think so. I'm on the fence about this. I love this technology. I don't know if there's other technology out there, but this is cool. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's a cool idea, and they have them in Japan and China, but why don't they have them in North America? Like, as far as I know, we don't have any high-speed trains in North America.
No, no maglev trains. No.
And 500-mile trip like San Francisco to LA or Toronto to Montreal could take under an hour using this. But like, I don't think it's unless we build the trains inside, we're not going to be seeing this anytime soon in Canada. But I could see this happening in the warmer states. Like, our temperature and our snow and our ice stop the trains, have to be heated, they have to be cleared all the time. Can you imagine if it's maglev and they physically weren't coming in contact with the thing? What would happen if the snow piled up? And so they have to figure some stuff out for our Canada temperature. If you look outside, we've got how many feet of snow right now? So there would be no high-speed trains running this week based on that snow pile up here. But there's no reason why other people can't be doing it. And I'm not sure how I feel about 0 to 700 kilometers an hour in 2 seconds, but cargo moving that fast, like this kind of thing can really be a game changer in the industry. And China's rolled this out across their country, so they can move freight, they can move people at incredible speeds that we just can't at this stage. And again, I'm not sure what the cost of that is, like moving at speeds of our train that are 80 or 100 miles an hour or kilometers an hour versus the 500 kilometers an hour from a train cost point of view. But it seems like we should be moving that direction for a higher speed because this technology is really cool. It seems it's cheaper. Since there's nothing touching the track, it's quieter. There's no clack or vibration, so it doesn't have the noise pollution in the communities. So I'd like to see this. The long game is Mach 1, 1,225 kilometers per hour, is still in the experimental research phase. They say it's about 10 years away. But right now you can ride the Shanghai maglev and it hits over 431 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. So there is a high-speed rail network that they're proposing in Canada from Toronto to Quebec City by Alto. And that'll only reach speeds of 300 kilometers per hour. So this is way less than that. I think so. I can't remember the technology that with the vacuum technology train that Elon Musk liked, but I don't know how this compares to that. I know obviously there's a lot more infrastructure needed for Elon Musk's technology versus maglev, but again, the magnets to create those electromagnetic fields probably cost a lot. I think it was like $1 million per kilometer. No, something more ridiculous than that. But it'd be nice if they could solve the problem of climate to get it here so that we can have a solution here in Canada for sure. Because we've got long distances to go.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what this proposal is like, but I immediately think if it's Toronto, Quebec City, then there's no way it's going through, because why the heck would we spend billions of dollars between Toronto and Quebec City?
Yeah.
Like what is that, a major transit route of some sort? Is it, one part of a stop and then it'll be...
Sorry, the two ends are Toronto and Quebec City, but it'll go through Montreal.
There you go. I was going to say, like, there's Quebec City, Montreal is the place to be in Toronto, and the traffic between them makes sense. But if you had another,
apparently
that makes sense.
Apparently the route is Toronto, Peterborough, Ottawa, Montreal, Trois-Rivières, Laval, and Quebec City.
So while superconducting magnets provide levitation, electromagnetic propulsion moves the vehicle forward. The technology uses linear motors, either linear induction motors or linear synchronous motors, embedded in the track to accelerate the vehicles along the guideway. So linear motors generate strong, rapid magnetic fields that push and pull the vehicle forward without physical contact. So they'd have to all the track, they'd have to climatize it, they'd have to do it. When they say high speed, we'll dig into what that means between Toronto. I don't know if it's maglev or not, but it sounds like in Canada we would need it to be environmentally protected. The tracks could not be exposed to the snow and the ice and the sleet. It would have to be enclosed somehow. I would assume that because everything else we have so far just doesn't work. And our trains right now are physically connected to the, can you imagine what that would be like if it wasn't? So we'd have to see what that goes. That's why I say weather is an issue. But military electromagnetic catapults on aircraft carriers, with the rail guns, which I'm not sure have been very successful for the Army, but they're apparently devastating. So the electromagnetic rail launcher systems take electromagnetic propulsion to the extreme levels. These are the systems use railgun-like electromagnetic setups for very powerful linear motors to achieve rapid acceleration. So it's like your train is on a railgun and it gets shot out.
Yeah.
Anyway, this looked, I'm excited. I'd love to see the future of this, because anything that can cut down our travel time, that makes the world smaller, that makes our life better. We have trains going around all the time. If we could quiet it, move the stuff faster, we'd see the trains less, we'd hear them less, we'd be able to move stuff faster and cheaper. So I'm definitely interested. So would you step onto a train that basically is a horizontal rocket, or is 1,000 kilometers per hour a bit too fast for your comfort? Let us know in the comments. If you take the Maglev or stick to skis or whatever reason now, we'll watch the story as the test tracks get longer and the speeds get higher, and we'll let you know what's going on with the high-speed rail between Montreal, Toronto, and Quebec. All right, let's do this one.
Cool.
Share this one instead. All right. Oh, I don't have it up. Where is it? There you go.
Good.
We're diving into a massive shift in how the world's most powerful AI is being trained, and it involves a 50-year-old tabletop game. It turns out that Dungeons & Dragons isn't just for hobbyists anymore. It has become the ultimate high-stakes testbed for the future of artificial intelligence. Researchers are using D&D to solve a major problem. AI models are great at short tasks, but often forget things or lose plot during long projects. By making AI act as dungeon master, they are forcing these models to manage complex rules, long-term memory, and social dynamics, all skills that will eventually run our businesses and personal assistants. What do you think about this, John?
I like this. This is where we need to go with AI research and things like that. So for those of you that don't know, Dungeons and Dragons, it's not just a game. It's a complex multi-agent environment that are governed by numerous rules, evolving scenarios, and strategic necessities that unfold over hours, or as I'm told, even days. But so unlike traditional AI benchmarks that focus on short, isolated tasks, for example, answering a question or classifying an image, D&D actually requires AI to remember past events, plan multiple steps ahead, interpret narrative descriptions, and coordinate actions with teammates, including humans. So by simulating these D&D campaigns, researchers can actually quantify how effectively these LLMs maintain continuity, adhere to constraints, and make strategic decisions over long spans of interaction. And so how they did this was they set it up by assigning roles to LLMs, such as Dungeon Master or DM, who is essentially responsible for narrating the game world and setting challenges, and also player characters that must interpret those narrative cues through game mechanics like dice rolls, combat, and turn-based actions. Now, the complexity arises from balancing rule adherence, state tracking, so keeping track of the world and characters, and decision quality over many turns, which are tasks that stress test a model's planning, memory, and reasoning capabilities. And so I know I'm talking a lot, but there's a lot to kind of talk about, and then we can dive into this. So in these experiments, they tested with multiple contemporary LLMs, and they were evaluated head to head. So the metrics included how consistently they maintain in-game character roles, how they make tactical decisions during combat, and follow intricate rule set of D&D. And so, according to early report comparisons, some models showed advantages in structured reasoning or tactical adaptation. For example, Claude variants sometimes outperformed others in decision quality, while others exhibited more creative or unpredictable behaviors influenced by narrative context, which highlights that different architectures and training regimes yield different long-term decision competencies. I think this is one of the coolest research studies that have been done with AI since we've been doing this podcast. What are your thoughts on this, Craig?
Well, I have two schools of thought on this. I have one school of thought that says whoever's doing this are D&D fans that just want to play D&D, get it started in the morning and hop back on and have an AI dungeon master for them. Which, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, because I think it's been the dream of a lot of players for a long time, which is why D&D online games are more popular when people can play together. No one has to DM, and everyone gets to experience the shared world. That aside, to understand this, let's just break this down a bit. An AI dungeon master is an artificial intelligence system that assumes the role traditionally held by a human dungeon master, which controls the world around the players. The players control themselves and only themselves. Yeah. And, maybe they can call a pet or whatever, and the pet may or may not do what they want. That's up to the dungeon master. The weather, the world, how everyone reacts, all that's up to dungeon master and rolls of the dice. So instead of a person orchestrating game scenarios, creating storylines, or enforcing the rules, the AI-powered system takes charge of these. And the books are complex. There are multiple 500-page books that it has to learn for rules books for each of the classes and all that stuff, and keep that in mind. So an AI dungeon master must generate compelling narratives that respond to player characters' choices, apply complex rule system constantly across many game sessions. So we talk about control the world, literally control the world. I know people who've been playing for years and years with the same characters over time in this world. So the AI would have to remember all that stuff that went on before. Control multiple non-player characters with distinct personalities. Remember that Mabel, the librarian, has two cats, they're named this and that's in this town over here, but now you're talking to another librarian in this city, and that's not Mabel, and they don't like cats. That's a completely different personality thing, and the AI, understanding that will help it not hallucinate. Because traditionally it would say, oh yeah, well, the librarian's name is Mabel, and give you, because we have one. So it has to keep all of that in place, and control all of those with separate personalities and names, track resources, locations, story threads over time, adapt to unexpected player decisions while maintaining story coherence. So it's really demanding. And then, like you said, the D&D AI agents, they make tactical decisions during combat, coordinate with other party members, maintain consistent character, their personalities, follow game rules for movement attacks, and all that kind of stuff. So it's very complex and interactive. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, but I used to play back in high school, and the system has changed so much. It's way more complex now. Better, I guess, if you know it, but way more complex. So getting it to be able to do this is nothing but a good thing, because if it can keep all this together, then it can handle my conversation without losing the plot like it does. I don't know what token number it does. It's different for each of my chats and whatnot. But you get so far down and it just loses the plot every single time. And then it's really hard to get that information back into another conversation to start going again. And it's really hard to detect that it lost the plot and it won't get it back. If it can get this and have the AI keep that track, then now start applying this to things like Moltbot, where it knows everything you do in your history and all the stuff you have, and be able to plan multiple moves ahead, strategies, calling people. Oh, it can see that you've got a dentist appointment, and that's going to be the weather. It's going to, maybe you want, it automatically changes that for you because it looks like it's going to be a snowstorm a week from now, so it calls ahead. Like, there's 1,000 things you can do once it knows your preferences and starts to get to know you, and you put it in an agent situation like that. So I'm super excited about what it's doing here, and the fact that it is using D&D is very fun nod.
Yeah. So here's why I like this. Why I think this is so cool and so critical, because it really addresses a gap in AI evaluation, because most benchmarks focus on short tasks or isolated reasoning. And then as AI is increasingly deployed in settings where it must operate over extended time spans without constant human prompting, like, for example, like you talked about, autonomous agents, project management assistants, or strategic planning tools, we need these new evaluation frameworks to evaluate the efficacy of these LLMs. And so D&D's, like you said, their complex narrative, strategic depth, that provides a real practical proxy for these real world long-term tasks. I think I think what we need to do with this is take this and continue with this and figure out what that evaluation benchmark is going to look like for these long-term kind of tasks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they've got a plan for this NeurIPS AI study, and they've got a specific research plan for a large-scale human participation, which suggests over 2,000 experienced D&D players head-to-head and cooperative scenarios pairing human against agents, quantitative metrics for rule adherence, strategic effectiveness, and resource management. So such a study would represent a significant methodological advance, moving AI closer to the real world. So they're planning this for 2026, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen. But you're right about how smarter customer support actually understands the vibe of the conversation, not just keywords. You know, your AI project manager won't forget a detail you mentioned 3 weeks ago when you're like, what was that we were talking about? Business will use these D&D trained models to simulate market changes and multi-step competition strategies. So you could get it to do so many different things. It's analyzing the competition, and when it changes stuff, what do you do? And it automatically can update your services, pricing, or whatever based on rules that you set, based on what's happening out in the market. And you wake up in the morning and things have changed. Yeah. So this is really cool. We'll have to see where it gets to and where it doesn't.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the follow-up to this.
I'm excited to see the follow-up to this as well. And I'm waiting to see, you know, the evolution of this, I guess, is a little bit more of what I'm looking for, because it's very likely not a version 1 version, like not a next version will be an end all be all. It'll be like an alpha, beta, whenever we start to see this. And the single most significant impact here isn't about better games. It's about building an AI that can finally handle the complexity of the real world without losing focus. So what do you think? Would you trust an AI dungeon master to run your campaign, or better at your business? Let me know in the comments, and we'll keep watching the story closely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got time for one more. What do you want to do?
It's up to you. Do dealer's choice. Let's do the chips.
Chips, the hairpin, the fiber chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flick. Share this tab instead. All right. Audio, that's good. That's good. We're in the same spot. Yep. Imagine a computer chip that you can literally roll up, stretch like a rubber band, and weave into your favorite t-shirt. Today, we're looking at a massive breakthrough from Funden University that turns electronics into flexible, hair-thin threads. This isn't just a prototype. It's a chip that survives boiling water and being run over a truck. Scientists have figured out how to build complex circuits on flexible sheets and roll them into fibers as thin as human hair. These flexible chips can process data and recognize patterns while being woven directly into clothing or implanted in the body. It effectively moves computing from rigid boxes into the very fabric of our daily lives. What do you think about this, John?
I love this. I think this is the a huge evolution in technology. So just for those of you that don't know why this might be big, is so conventional chips, they're built on these rigid silicon wafers. Like it's really cool. They're reflective, rainbow looking. It's really cool, but they can't flex or stretch. So that limits embedding them in soft or dynamic environments like textiles or the human body. Like you can embed a chip, but it's rigid. It's there. Like there are people who embed things in their body and things like that. But this new development, what it does is it uses elastic polymer substrate, and that acts like a foundation for the ICs, or integrated circuitry. So standard chip fabrication steps, it includes photolithography to create transistors, resistors, and capacitors, and they're performed on this substrate. So after the components are built, the entire electronic sheet is coated with a protective polymer layer. Then it's tightly rolled into a spiral, kind of like a sushi roll. And then that's how this transforms the flat circuit into this multi-layered fiber integrated circuit, or FIC, with electronics embedded throughout its length. I think this is really cool, but the key to this innovation is the multi-layered internal architecture. So circuits are laid out not just on the surface, but throughout the rolled fiber. So that's what enables like more of a high density of 100,000 transistors per centimeter, which is roughly comparable with conventional large-scale integrated chips. So this density allows these fibers to perform advanced digital and analog signal processing, including neural-style computing tasks like image recognition, which is a capability that's far beyond sensing or data transmission. So we're not talking about just rudimentary basic chips here. We're talking smart chips that can actually do a lot. I think this is cool. What do you think about this?
I think this is great. You know, they can survive stretching beyond 30% of their original length. They can even continue to work after being washed in boiling water or run over by a truck weighing 15.6 tons. So all of a sudden, you know, wearable technology takes on a different meaning. You know, durability, it survives 10,000 bends, stretching even laundry cycles. We no longer have to attach a gadget to ourselves. The clothing becomes the gadget. So this will be a whole new fashion statement once we get into it. And these fibers can perform neuromorphic computing, meaning that they mimic how human brains process patterns. So we can think about some immediate applications I could think of was invisible health tracking. You know, your workout shirt will monitor your heart rate, breathing, temperature without any bulky sensors. About smart medical implants, future stents or sutures could feel if an infection is starting and alert the doctor because they're bending at a certain point or what have you. Immersive VR, instead of handheld controllers, a pair of gloves woven with these fibers could track every tiny movement of your fingers with extreme precision. So I think this is very interesting. It's currently a verified lab breakthrough. It's published in the Journal of Nature, but yeah, we're not expecting to see high-end athletic wear or specialized medical monitoring for 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, but like, I sorry, you cut out on me there for a second. I don't know if you talked about, so because each fiber can integrate power supply, it can integrate sensing, it can integrate computing, and also display functions. So it eliminates the need for any kind of external modules, which is really, really cool. So it's got everything kind of embedded into one, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, and the question now becomes is how do you power the shirt? So we need the shirt, the wearable technology, right? It's great that we have a rollable thing that's got technology in it and we can do a bunch of stuff, but how do you power it? So that's, you know,
what do you integrate to power it to maintain that flexibility, right?
Indeed. And so we talked about, there were some bendable batteries and things that we talked about in the past, but they're not going to be quite as flexible as this. So that's definitely going to be an issue. And while it survives 10,000 bends, a shirt might need to survive many more over years of use. So there are some potential issues here, but each centimeter, like you said, holds approximately 100,000 transistors. So you could really do a lot over shirts or pants or a coat or what have you. Mm-hmm. And Fudan University pioneered the roll-up fabrication strategy that allows a standard semiconductor tools to create flexible tech. So watch for If you're a tech enthusiast, look for smart textile startups and whatnot to see what they're doing with this technology, to see breakthroughs if you want to invest. But definitely, if you're looking to stay informed, look for a neuromorphic computing, as the fiber chip is designed to work like a brain, not just a calculator. And so computing is moving from being a device we carry to a layer of intelligence woven into our world. So will you be the first to run out and grab one of these, John?
Definitely. I'd try anything that has this integrated. I'm excited for this for sure.
So is the future of fashion or just a lab experiment that's too hard to mass produce? I want to hear what you think. Would you wear a shirt that could think? Let me know in the comments, and we'll keep a close eye on this one. So what do you got going on, John?
Yeah, just probably liking hopefully warmer weather when this comes out, and heading to Startup Drinks TO, maybe attending a Flowgrammer event, and just helping companies with secure government funding. How about you, Craig?
Well, we always got lots going on over at torontostarts.com. All our events will be listed there. You can also check out, if you're interested in Toronto and you want to talk to startups or investors, either, you're either end of that spectrum, or you want to get in front of founders or investors because you have a different pitch, check out Startup Drinks TO. We have an event every month where it's open pitch, open bar, where you can jump in front of the crowd, give your pitch, and then really network with people. That really drives the networking forward. If you're interested in business AI automation for your business and trying to take your business to the next level, check out flowgrammer.ca. And if you happen to be a developer, a vibe coder, AI, business automation, workflow builder in Toronto, check out flowgrammers.ca. We'd love to have you at one of our events. We do cafes, drop-in spaces every month. We do live demos online and in-person events. So check all of that out over there. And one more time, John, if people are looking for non-dilutive funding, where do they go?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn, John Irwin. Come reach out to me, send me a message, add me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to chat.
Thanks, everyone, for watching, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.